ReZume Arts.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Catherine. I work with Region 2 Arts Council, and I will be a co-host for this event today, along with Holly. Do you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Holly Alcott. I'm the Region 2 Arts Council grants manager. So if you want to apply for grants with our organization, I can help you out.
And we do have a grant coming up for all you individual artists. There are just a few days left, but it is our individual artist grant application is due on the 31st of October. So if you have any questions, you can talk to us after today. However, we are so excited to be here with you for our next segment of ReZume Arts, which is showcasing two amazing visual artists, Katie Lou Sandberg and Gillian Bedford. And we're really excited for this conversation and for all the beautiful images that you'll get to see today, as well as learn about these amazing artists. So I would like to just kind of give you an idea of our roles, as well as the artists that we have, just a brief introduction. So I will be primarily facilitating the hosting, and along with Holly, and also Laura, our executive director, is looking at any questions that you might have, any curiosities that you have to share with the artists on the Facebook live stream. So please feel free to engage. We love to have those questions come in, and Laura will be facilitating those questions to Holly, who will then let us know what's happening on the live stream. Otherwise, we'll let each of the artists introduce themselves, tell you a little bit about themselves, their work, their inspiration, see some beautiful images. And as always, we really inspire an organic conversation that is really rich for not only them as artists, but us as viewers really getting to learn about the art that you do. So with no further ado, I would like to just again briefly, so we have Katie Lou Sandberg, who lives in Detroit Lakes. She is an Anishinaabe Arts grant recipient from previous years. And she has also been an exhibitor in our Anishinaabe Arts Initiative exhibits that we do on a yearly basis. So Katie, we're really glad that you're here to tell us about your work, about what you've been up to. And then we also have Gillian Bedford, who is a previous grant recipient as well for the individual artist grant. And she has been in Bemidji for just recent times. So it'll be really exciting to hear about how, what has been happening to you and your work since you've been here in Bemidji, because I think you have a lot to say about that too. So yeah, so just welcome. Katie, we'd love to start with you. Would you like to tell us a little bit about your work, you, and anything that you want to share with us today?
Oh gosh, I don't know where to begin, but my name is Katie Sandberg. My name in Anishinaabe is Wabishki Anmake, and that means white thunderbird. You'll get to see one of my paintings that is from my namesake that I created and is now on display at Anjibade, Changing Our Past virtual art show right now. I will also give a link to that here in a bit. But I guess, I don't know, what do you want to know? What should I start with?
Well, I think one of the things that would be really interesting for you to tell us about, Katie, is how did you get started with your artwork? It's a very unique journey that took you there, right?
Right. So art has always been something that's been in my home. I grew up with all the art supplies. My mother is also an oil painter, and she would be probably my biggest inspiration for creating art. She just had a very nurturing way. She never pushed art on me. It was just always accessible. And I was always wanting to know more and would do critiques. Even to this day, we send each other art to critique each other. And mostly, does this look dumb or does this look disproportionate, or, and just to inspire each other. And that's how I guess I got started, but it's really been a creative outlet for me. I've had a lot of health problems, especially with my heart and lungs. I was in a bad car accident when I was 16. And in that car accident, I bruised my heart. My heart keeps wanting to repair itself. And so I keep having these open heart surgeries and lung surgeries. And basically my body's not very good at repairing itself. So I have to go to the Mayo Clinic and have these operations. And my outlet has always been art and painting. And whenever I feel really stressed or experiencing something with strong emotions, that's where I go to. It's always been my first outlet, I guess. And depending on my mood, I guess I'd switch from oils to acrylics. I really like the easy access of acrylics when I want to do something quick and I want to see it out quickly. Oils, I like to have always something working on the background. If I can work in between, I'll do acrylics in between the oils. Yeah, so that's kind of where I am and where I started, I guess. Right now I went back to college where I'm studying art education, and I'm also studying studio art with emphasis in painting with an art therapy minor. And I really, as this has really helped me as an artist, I want to help others through art and how it has been a creative outlet for me and a positive creative outlet for me. I really want to also have that outlet available for other people and try, I don't know, I like trying everything right now in school, being an art educator. It's fun because right now I'm in ceramics, I'm in sculpture right now, and those are mediums that I haven't worked with. I'm such a 2D artist, so 3D is really, it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun just exploring new outlets, I guess. So I always keep learning is my motto too.
That's great. I remember you telling me the other day that one of the things you've learned is that you are definitely a 2D artist as opposed to a 3D artist. It's really interesting, isn't it, how each of us gravitates towards a certain form of art or of self-expression, and and it's just really nice to be able to challenge yourself to do a different style and get to know a little bit more about the style that you've already claimed for yourself. That's great. I can't help but look at the piece that you have behind us. It is so powerful. I remember that piece was in one of our exhibits. I wonder if you would tell us a little bit about this piece.
This piece is called Pre-Existing Condition. A lot of times in my life, it's been hard to be an artist with disabilities. So I guess it's something, the subject matter is something that is important to me, and I kind of want attention on that. My illness is pretty much almost invisible. I have a handicap parking permit, and sometimes I don't feel comfortable using it because I feel like I'll be judged, or because my illness is pretty, you can't tell from the outside that I have what's going on in the inside. And so some of that is my art coming out. It's what, I guess earlier Gillian asked me a question, why wouldn't you label your art as expressionist, and I think you're right. I think that would be better to label it that way, because when I thought about it more, it's like, yeah, I'm kind of reacting to my art, and my art is what's kind of going on inside and expressing it. So this is one that I'm still working on. I don't consider this done yet. There's still a lot more I want to do. And it's actually been kind of a work in progress. Some I like to take my time, where it's taken me a few years to complete, and some that I do in a weekend. So it's kind of depends on my mood, definitely. So this is one that is a slow process evolving, I guess.
Mm. It's really stunning.
It
It's so
is.
beautiful. And I know that you have some other artwork that you can show the people that are watching today. And I know that there's a couple of other art forms that there's another art form that you work with. Does this seem like a good time for you to maybe like showcase a little bit about your work and talk a little bit about your photography?
Sure. I don't know if you wanted me to share my portfolio at this time or.
Sure. Just, yeah, that would be lovely. Go ahead, and Gillian, feel free, to kind of chime in with any observations or anything that you feel.
Yeah, I love the expressive quality of your work, and that's what I try to create with my work. So I really respond to other artists that have that kind of work, that have a strong color sense and have something that really grips you when you look at it.
Yes. Okay, I'm going to share my screen here. Let's see. Here we go. So some of this is, we had to create a digital portfolio for college too. So this is what was behind me here. This is a pre-existing condition. So it's still a work in progress. I don't consider this completely done. This is one of those that I was, one of those paintings that came out very quickly. This was very loose, fun, and free feeling, creating this one, Sail On. I actually had leftover paint on my palette and I thought, I better use this up. And this is what came out. And this is one of those pieces that is reference free. This is 100% just what was in my brain at the time.
I love the colors in the sky. That's beautiful.
Thanks.
Yeah, I love the brushwork.
When I was at MSUM, I took an intro to photography class where we learned how to do photography on manual settings with a 35 millimeter 35 millimeter film, black and white film camera. We use black and white film. And I absolutely fell in love with it and started at this point taking my photography more seriously. This was just, this is digital photography here. This is Dignity. And if you haven't seen it, I really recommend seeing it. It's absolutely gorgeous, but I happened to see it at night and I thought I had to photograph the moment.
Yeah, and I have to say that particularly is a very moving piece. You just captured it so beautifully on your photography. It's really stunning.
Yeah.
Then we had to do a self-portrait in my last semester. So this is an oil and I wanted it to be, I don't know, kind of more loose, free feeling style. I like the colors of this one, but
Yeah, this one seems more stylized to me.
yeah.
It's I love the blue in the hair and the green in your hair.
So here's more digital photography. I'll just go through these kind of quick, but one thing I really like about black and white photography is I really like the shadows, the line, the shape, how you can tell a lot of information from a photo in black and white. It just, I like the striking contrast. Some more work from college here. More photography. This was actually my son here in the background.
That's beautiful.
One of my favorite ones. More artwork from college.
Oh, that's nice.
This is another black and white photo, digital. I also like history and I like preserving history and photographs of historical places in the present. So this photo is one of those. This is just Detroit Lakes Town Hall. And I stopped to take a picture. For a while there, I got into painting flowers. I just like them because they're loose, they're forgiving, they're organic. They're fun. They're 100% fun. This is my future stepdaughter and my fiance. We just got engaged here a couple weeks ago, so it's kind of new to me to say that, but I'm excited.
Wow. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
This one I just completed not that long ago. I really like mountains, even though I live in Minnesota. I like going to Montana and places that are, I like climbing heights. It's something that's very challenging for me to do. So it's kind of something I do in my spare time, but we're both hikers. Here's one of my 35mm photography. So this is done in black and white film. And this is just Burlington brick. And it's right outside the Detroit Lakes train depot. And I just liked, I like the look of this picture. I like how it fades. Then some more college work. Here's Washington Avenue and present day in 35mm photography. And I like capturing how towns evolve and how older buildings fit into newer spaces. Another fun one here. This is one that is currently in the Anishinaabe virtual art show right now through December 31st. And this is Wabishki Anmake, which is my Indian name. And this one came to me in a dream. I didn't want any kind of influence of what I thought a white thunderbird would look like. I wanted it, I believe it's my soul is what I'm putting on canvas. And so it is very personal. I don't want to ever sell this, or I want this to always be in the family, because this is very, I get emotional talking about it a little bit, but
well done. That's a daunting task, to put your soul on canvas.
Yeah, it happened within about 3 days over New Year's this last year. I worked on it till like 3 a.m. some nights. Like I just had to get it out, and that's what came out. And I love it.
You did that from your imagination?
Yes.
Wow, that's amazing. I am so impressed.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a very touching piece. It's just got so much movement and so much, it's so grounded and mystic and etheric yet grounded. And it's just it's beautiful.
Thank you.
It is gorgeous. I love it. Yeah.
These are just some previous works that's on oil here. This is one that I took a long time painting it, and I didn't like it at first, and I put it on the shelf I actually framed it. I put it on like the shelf of my studio room, and I didn't like it enough where I want to hang it. And I thought, oh, it's got good bones, but something's wrong with it. And I end up one day grabbing it. I know what I need to do. And then I took it out of the frame and put it back on the easel. And this is what came out. And now I like it, and actually sold this one. And this is one I wish I hadn't sold, because
yeah,
I like it.
Yeah,
I'm glad you got a good picture of it.
Yeah. That's one thing I'm learning, is to make reproductions. Let's see.
And Gillian, you were saying something about that piece?
Well, the one before?
Yep. The prairie one, the tornado.
Yeah, that sort of reminds me of a Georgia O'Keeffe somehow.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, good observation.
I don't know if it's because of the red earth or, yeah.
I like using strong colors, and I know, like, I saw Gillian's work too, and I agree with the bold styles. And this is another kind of semi-autobiographical piece that I actually went down to the Mayo Clinic, and I have these checkups, and this was during a time I didn't have a very good checkup, and I came home and I was bummed about it, and I kind of wanted to sulk a little bit, and I thought, well, that's not going to help anybody. So then I brought out my paints and I painted this. And I put gray hairs in there because I figured this would be a future self-portrait, and I'd go on to continue creating art while I could.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. I love that message. To just take life one day at a time and do what you really want to do, which is paint.
Yeah. And let's see. Then, yeah, that's probably my earliest one there that oh no, this one too. I thought that was it. All right.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing. I think that's a great place to maybe, Gillian, I know that as I was watching Katie's work, I was feeling a lot of inspiration for a lot of the ways in which you work as well. So would you care to tell us a little bit about you and maybe show, I'm happy to show some images of your work when you tell me that you're ready for that.
Okay. Well, I'll start with an introduction. So I'm Gillian Bedford, and I'm from Philadelphia, really. I mean, I was born in Chicago area, but from the age of 4 until 1 year ago, I lived in Philadelphia. And I went to Tyler School of Art, and that's in Philadelphia. And so I've been painting with oils for 30 years. But I wanted to go back 4 years ago. I went to a really pivotal show at the Woodmere Art Museum, which is it's in Chestnut Hill area in Philadelphia. And John Lobb was having a show, and his colors sung to me. And so I thought, I'm just going to totally change over my colors to what he uses. And I'm just going to emulate his color sense. So he uses ultramarine blue, manganese blue hue, rose madder deep, cadmium orange, cadmium yellow light, and titanium white. So there's no black, and just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 colors in white. And so that was right before Alan and I headed off on this year-long trip. He had a sabbatical. This is my husband, and he was visiting colleges and universities throughout America, and we covered the country 4.5 times by car. And so when he was doing things like that, or bicycling, things that took a lot of time, I was out in the countryside painting Sedona, painting Oregon, painting Washington, painting Arizona, a lot of Arizona paintings, and a lot of other paintings. And I had 2 shows that year. And so that was when I started to paint with acrylics, because we were in a car and oils don't dry fast. So I thought, okay, I'm going to switch over to acrylics too, and paint plein air, which means painting outdoors, with acrylics. And sometimes my paint on my brush would dry as I would pick it up in Arizona. It was so dry. And, I was like stubbling dry paint onto my canvas. But so that's what started me off with painting with acrylics. And for 3 years, I've been painting with acrylics. And a year and a few months ago, Alan got a job at Bemidji State University, and I followed him. And I didn't know what would happen because I had a good career going in Philadelphia, and my friends were worried about me. And they're like, what's going to happen to your art career? And I was just like, I don't know. We'll just have to see. And so I was going to a church service at the Headwaters Unitarian Church, and I met Dee Dee Butner. and she was asking me, you know, what do you do? And I say, well, I paint, and I'm looking for a group to paint with. And she says, I'll paint with you. And so that was, and then we started painting in my studio. And then summer came along and we decided we were going to paint outdoors. So she joined, she invited Joan Wilson, and I invited my daughter, Amara Bedford, who started to live with me, and my husband. And then we invited Mike Ohl, who is a Bemidji teacher, retired Bemidji teacher. So we would paint in different areas around the Bemidji and Shevlin and, you know, off of Route 70 South, and a lot of Lake Bemidji and a lot of Dee Dee's Lake. That's what I call it. I don't know what lake it's really called, but, and we painted and painted. I was trying to count up how many paintings I did this summer. I think I made about 17 paintings. And
I was say, I'm your Facebook friend, Gillian, and I have loved following you this summer and seeing the pictures of you guys painting together and the paintings that come out of it. I mean, just wow.
yes, thanks. Yeah. So we painted, and now we're going to be painting in my studio here on Tuesdays. It's going to be a whole different thing. We'll probably do some drawing, take turns modeling, drawing, painting. I'm trying to start up another group, so if anyone's interested in joining me on a Thursday and painting and drawing in my studio on a Thursday, you're welcome. So I live in the Bemidji area, and so now recently I've switched back to oils. So I did some acrylic and oil, and now I'm doing oils, and maybe I'll go back to doing acrylic and then oil on top of the acrylic. You can't paint acrylic on top of oil, but you can paint oil on top of dried acrylic. And so the great thing about acrylic paint when you're painting outdoors is you can just start painting, and you can paint so rapidly and switch things up because it dries so fast. So you don't have to have this sense of what your composition is going to be and stuff. If you paint thinly, it won't show. And acrylic paint, it does tend to be a thinner paint than oil. So it's a different way of painting. But then recently I've been switching back to oils because the color is so rich and it has a softness and a creaminess. So I love oils. So I can't promise that I'm going to stick with oils, but for now, I just love painting with oils in my studio. For a while, I did some paintings out in my garden that started off as a plein air of my garden, and then I brought the big painting indoors, put glazes over parts of it to bring it out and create more composition, and the oils really made it come alive. So so basically, I'm an emotive and expressive painter.
Nice. So do you think this is a good place for me to like share some of your images that you can talk about a little?
Yeah, this is really good.
Yeah, great. Because I know that one of the things that I really love about Katie and your work is that they definitely have a lot of emotion in them, right?
Yeah, so this is Lake Itascan number 6. And so this is one of my spiritual paintings where it's describing heaven and earth. So the land and the sky and the clouds are spiritual. It's a spiritual dimension. And the reflection in the water, and the water is the heavenly dimension. And so that I made the sky different than the reflection on the water to describe how our life on earth can be different than our life in heaven. And that this is a very happy painting. So the sky and the earth and the reflection are pretty similar. But that's one of the things I was doing in my studio, was doing these Lake Itasca paintings over and over and over again, to describe heaven and earth.
Nice.
Yeah. So this is Big Bog number 2. And it's the sky looks cold and not very cheery. This is all the way up in the very northern part of Minnesota. I was out there twice, one time last fall, and then one time, no, I guess it was summer, and then summer a year ago, and then last spring. So the earth is really warm, but the sky is cool and cold. So that's the way it made me feel when I was trying to paint plein air. It was very cold and windy and tough to paint. It's complicated, and it's impressions.
Now, I have a question for you, Gillian.
Yeah.
I was wondering, with you moving to Minnesota, do you feel like that's impacted your painting, especially since you paint outdoors? Like, do you feel like how do you feel like that's changed, like with moving here and also traveling? Do you feel like painting changes with location, or?
Well, my friends on Facebook tell me my paintings have come alive with moving here. So it sort of seems like, the Lord or God has really looked kindly on me, because I really didn't know what it was going to be like for me moving here. And I've really enjoyed painting the bogs, the trees, the gardens, the lakes, the water. So I think my paintings have gotten exponentially better.
I was wondering, like, I see that you're enjoying all these places and the parts of the state that I'm from Minnesota. I've been here my entire life. I haven't moved. And you're enjoying the same places that I like to enjoy. And I just think you're embracing Minnesota as an artist. And I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I have a real calling to try to paint northern Minnesota in my own way.
Yeah, your perspective is great. I love the colors.
So this is a painting that describes pain, jarring, loneliness, just disjointedness. It's called Hazelhurst Dock on a Stormy Day. I painted it plein air in Wisconsin. I was trying to get used to the enormous amount of light in northern Minnesota in the summer. I was not sleeping well and was going on very small amounts of sleep. And so that's what this describes, is that emotion of jarringness. And this one is beside a collage, 3 together. So it's summary, it's stately, simple 4-value composition, and basic red and green contrasting color composition. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about that. That is warm. This is Dee Dee's Lake. So this is a lake I painted over and over again this summer, and it has that contrast of being peaceful, mysterious, dreamy, and then at the same time on the left-hand side there's that jarring, dark, sort of severe tree to describe different emotions of darkness and then dreaminess at the same time. And then the next one, yeah, and that's Dee Dee's Lake number 2, and that's dreamy, very dreamy. I was kind of going through the summer without a lot of sleep.
That's awesome. Yeah, and you're right, Katie. I mean, the the brightness, the power of the colors, you know, I can
Very.
really see the similarities and also the appreciation of yeah, just like the different layers of emotions embedded in both of your work is really beautiful.
Ooh.
So this one is a whole new technique of dripping paint, like a squirting out paint from tubes.
Hmm.
After I finished the painting, the last thing I did was put the canvas down flat on the ground and squirted out yellow, orange, and blue paint. And so it's kind of passionate and sharp at the same time, colorful. This one's more soft and dreamy, but it has that contrast of the yellow and the orange. And so these are my beginning of autumn paintings at Lake Bemidji. And it's reflective, it's soft, it's colorful. And then this is Bemidji number 2, balanced, peaceful. This is the one I did out in my garden. It took me a long time to do it. It's a 30 by 40 size and it's acrylic. It's called My One Precious Life and I'm Gonna Paint. And so it's kind of exuberant and dashing, joyful, playful. And I finished it off inside my studio with glazes going around the sides to really make the focal point pop. And so I really, at first, all the parts were as bright as the middle part is, but then I took oil paint and I kind of brushed over a lot of the painting to subdue it so that center part could really pop out.
I was gonna say it looked like it was stylistically like oil paints.
Yeah, it's acrylic and oil. Yeah.
That's beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah, thanks. So this started out being a Lake Bemidji painting too. I would sort of set up in the same place and people would come by and talk about my paintings with me. It was always nice to see people and I would tell them about Watermark. You got to go to Watermark, and they're like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I've always wanted to go to Watermark," and tell them about Region 2 Council for the Arts and try to talk it up. And so this,
We appreciate that.
yeah, this is very much more my imagination than this does not look like Lake Bemidji at all, really. So I just was being affected by painting outdoors, painting plein air, and just having the experience more than actually trying to capture what I was seeing, the experience of being near a lake and just trying to paint Minnesota Lake, which is what it's called. So, and that's oil. This is Minnesota countryside. I went to my friend Paula Peters with my group on a Tuesday and set up and painted her countryside. And I love the combination of the lakes and then the farmland, the vast just the vastness of the countryside, how it rolls slightly, and sometimes it's pretty flat around here. But and I sort of made a funky, imaginative vegetable garden in the foreground, and this piece is sort of almost like looking at stained glass. I feel like it doesn't have a strong focal point. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, but I feel like you just sort of see this all at once. So that's what a lot of my paintings are like. Some of them have more of a focal point. Other ones are almost like you just sort of look at the whole thing at once. And then this is another version. And this ties in with the first painting I showed. This is called Spiritual Heaven. So this is acrylic, started out plein air, and then I brought it into my studio and painted with oil. And it's about mysterious internal growth, happiness, and work done in the field, which is, you know, basically our spiritual growth. So some of my paintings have that spiritual quality, and other ones are just, you know, splashing around with paint and just about paint. So I have different purposes for my paintings, and I don't always know how it's going to turn out. I just sort of let it tell me what it's going to be.
Yeah, thank you both. I mean, your work is just so beautiful, and we're just really excited to be able to share it with others. And, you know, I just want to take what you just said, Gillian, and just ask you both, would you be willing to share a little bit more about your process? Like, how do you approach, I mean, you touched a little bit on it, but I'm just curious if you have any questions for each other, or, you know, any kind of observations, other observations that you want to share. And
I could start kind of with my processes. Honestly, I have moments when I have bouts of extreme artist block, and I've learned like to work around it and work through it by focusing on like, okay, this is what I am, this is what's my barrier, my restriction, whatnot from my artwork is this is on my mind. So I'm like, well, I'm going to make it my art then. And then, so for me, what's on my mind, what I need to do for my assignments vary based on what is required, but I like to incorporate what is going on in my world, what's still going on in my bubble when I have my assignments. For example, right now I have ceramics that I'm getting into, and we had to make ceramic mugs, and we wanted to make them outlandish. So I put mushrooms growing on them because in my spare time, I like going collecting mushrooms, but that's my world. So I'm bringing my world into my art. And I guess that's not the most professionally way to put it, but
I think
that's me. So that's how I've gotten, because before I was really not a productive artist. I would have big, long months and months of being very productive and having spurts of many paintings at once, and then being completely uninspired the next month, and then struggled to find it. So now I'm trying to find that balance of productivity, which is hard for me to keep producing, especially right now. I haven't taken on any commission work this year just so I can focus on school. But I do try to even put a painting out just to get it started. You pick out 3 colors or 4 colors you like. This is my advice if you get stuck, if you do have artist block, is just pick out 4 or 5 colors, even make a splash on a canvas and then sit and look at it. What can I turn this into? That's just, I guess, my advice for artist block anyway, but that's kind of my process.
Well, I think your work has a real strength to it, and it seems like it's really thought out very well. And I appreciate that. I sometimes try to just put out the paintings, and sometimes I make real bloopers, and sometimes they turn out really well, and I try not to judge them too much. So I just try to be productive without a lot of like voices telling me whether it's good or bad or whatever. I just try to make it. If I make a painting and if I paint that day, I try to reward myself and give myself a reward, some kind of reward, because it's hard work. I think people think it's easy to paint, but it's actually very exhausting mentally and physically.
It is. I'm glad you said that, Gillian. Art is hard work.
do have a question from Facebook if you guys are ready for that. Uh, Someone on Facebook asked, who are the other artists who inspire both Katie and Gillian?
What a
And
great
we
question.
also got a great comment on Facebook too that says Jillian's colors look like they really sing in person.
Nice.
So what artists inspire you guys?
Oh yeah, I love David Hockney. Like my Minnesota countryside painting looks hopefully like a Hockney landscape. So he's one of my favorite painters. He's very colorful. He's very joyful. He tries a lot of different things. He has a lot of different styles. I'm trying to think, maybe Katie can come up with someone and I'll see if I can think of some other people.
For me, for my photography, I'm a fan of Ansel Adams. I really like landscapes. I really like capturing when I go hiking, for photography wise, but for my art wise, I'd say Frida is probably one of my biggest influences, just because I really like her story and her journey, and how she kind of self-reflects and has somewhat autobiographical paintings. And I'm trying to think. Yeah, I try to just I don't know.
I was thinking of Helen Frankenthaler, because she was one of the first major women to really become famous. And she also was one of the first artists to use acrylic paint. But she would sort of use paint as a stain, which I don't do so much. But she inspires me as a role model.
Katie, when you mentioned Frida Kahlo, I'm from Mexico, and Frida is a real embodiment of our culture. And when I was looking at your work, of course, she was coming to my mind completely. And so I'm glad to know that there was also this experience that you've had with her work, because it is really deep and self-reflectionary, and it really spoke to me, when I was seeing your work. In so many ways, some things about Frida Kahlo really jumped out at me. So yeah. And one thing that I know is, I think it's really interesting. Both of you use photography and painting,
right?
And you use it in different ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Gillian, would you care to share with people how you use photography for your own work?
Yeah, so my husband loves taking pictures, and so he would take pictures of different scenes in Bemidji, and then blow it up, as an 8x10. And then I did a lot of Lake Itasca paintings. I did Hazelhurst Inlet paintings. I did all kinds of paintings in my studio during the winter, because I like to work from some sort of image. I don't have Katie's talent to just make this incredible landscape from my imagination. And then in the summer, I don't use photographs so much. I work straight from what plein air, which is in front of me.
Yeah. I would love to paint with you sometime if I ever in Bemidji.
That'd be great. I'd love to paint with you. That'd be terrific.
Yeah.
And maybe this is a good time to remind people out there that are listening, if you want to know how to get in touch with these amazing artists, please go to our Region 2 Arts Council website, and you'll see a ReZume Arts button there. Our website is the letter R, the number 2 arts, ARTS.org. And when you go into our website, you'll see a button that says ReZume Arts. When you click on it, you'll actually find a bio and all the ways in which you can connect with all the artists that we showcase in this program. So you've got an invitation for Thursdays, maybe possible. So let Gillian know.
Oh yeah, do you want me to show my picture of my studio?
Sure.
Okay, because I wanted to show people what it looks like, so maybe they'll join me. I have to go into my room. But see,
Wow.
Oh, wow.
There's 3 easels right now. And then there's a table.
Nice.
And I have a chair to sit in and model in, and it's got nice lights and it's pretty cheerful.
It's
That's
gorgeous.
awesome. And the best way to contact you is via email, if I remember correctly.
Sure, you know, I do check my emails. Sometimes it's hard to get a hold of me, but you know, texting probably is the best.
Okay, and your phone number is on our website. So again, if you want to connect with Gillian for that invitation, Katie, I invite you to do that as well. And you know, that also reminds me of, Katie, you mentioned commissions. So it sounds like you do commissions. I wonder if there's any other ways, anything that you want to tell the people that are listening about, you know, something that would be helpful for them to know about connecting with you.
If they wanted to connect with me, the best method would be to either contact me on Facebook. If you see, I have a Facebook, Katie Lou Sandberg is my artist page. I'm not always going to be on there, but that's probably your best way to connect with me. Right now, I am not doing commission work just because I'm in school and it's too much. But I do have an upcoming show at the Holmes Art Show coming up in Detroit Lakes. That will be in November, to look for that. And otherwise, Anjibade Changing Our Paths art show is going on right now virtually. You can check that out through ReZume Arts, and that is, we'll make sure we have a link after this video so you can check it out. It goes now through December 31st.
Yeah, and I'll be sure to go ahead and post it on our Facebook live stream as well as our website again, you know, and make sure that everybody knows how to connect with that. Holly?
And Katie, we do have another question from Facebook.
Okay.
When Katie paints the body like her human heart, does she go inside and see from her mind's eye?
That's exactly right. That's what's in my head. So if I think I have some experience with knowing my heart. I've had many images of it, and I kind of get these before and after pictures that I get to take home with x-rays and whatnot. So I wouldn't challenge my correctness on this if it, you know, if a doctor looked at it, but this is what's in my head. So yeah.
Cool.
Beautiful. Well, it's really just been a pleasure to be with both of you. I'm so glad that we've had this opportunity for you both to connect as artists and to share your work, to share your passion, to share your brilliance. And I love the fact that you've been able to also inspire people through the moments where they might get stuck or maybe feel that, you know, that their painting isn't good enough, you know, to just like be able to stay open and invite yourself to just create. Because we know that art is the best self-expression, and self-expression is medicine, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's been a real pleasure. Holly, anything else from the Facebook?
No more from the Facebook, but from me, I really have appreciated seeing both of your art works together and seeing those really strong palettes that both of you bring, and this use of color, and both of your paintings are very expressive, and so it was really neat to hear about your different styles and still producing like a work that's complementary to each other is really, really cool. I really appreciated you guys together. It was really a great experience.
And
Yeah,
Meg,
well, thank
for
you.
this opportunity.
Yeah, Katie, it was so cool to see your artwork. I'm very impressed. Like, keep it up. I think you do really good work.
Likewise, likewise, and I would love to paint with you sometime.
Oh, good.
That's so great. Well, thank you again, everyone. Again, for anybody out there, ReZume Arts is every second and fourth Wednesday of every month at 1 o'clock. We really appreciate you coming live with us. However, if for some reason you missed it, you can always go back and look at it on our YouTube channel. We do post the recording of this live event on our YouTube channel, and you can find everything once again at art2arts.org. Until next time, thanks a lot, Katie, Gillian, Holly. It's been a pleasure as always. Thanks, Laura, for helping us on the Facebook stream. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Bye, Katie. Good luck with school.
Yeah, keep it up.
Bye.
Bye.